YouTube is good. All right. All right. So I need to fix my camera again because the cats tend to play. The kittens have a lot of fun when I'm not around, I guess. One in the window. And one behind the cabinet. Unless I feed them and they come out, that's where they live. Well, for now anyway. If I can get them sweet enough, they might get home. We'll see. Let's see. We good? We're good, right? Okay. So a friend, thank you, GC, shared the cute little meme that I had on Facebook about if you're stressed out, basically breathe is the long and the short of it. So I thought that would be a good intention, a good practice. I don't know. The word isn't coming to me, but a good focus for today. Because as much as we want to twist ourselves in pretzels, stand upside down on our heads, to make it yoga, really all we need is to breathe. Right? Consciously breathe. We breathe every day, right? Hopefully. But when you're aware of it and you stay focused on it, and that is the important thing, that's when the brain just gets to just not pay attention to all the other craziness around, right? And this time of year is especially insane, right? I was driving home in the dark from work yesterday, day before, whatever it was. And it's cold and dreary. And so yeah. It's time to calm and focus and all of that, right? And you don't need your mat even to get that. And while I don't recommend meditating while you're driving, just simply focusing on your breath for a little bit of the trip makes it so much better. So that's where we're going to focus. Remember, you can always make the poses harder or less difficult. Skip things that are not good for your body, right? Or you just don't feel like doing sometimes. There's that too. So, yeah. Heels aligned to the groin as much as you can, and our thigh rotation, of course, so that we are upright on the pelvis. Very important. So every breath today is going to have a job. Right? Now, whether that's moving you in and out of a pose, we will do a little bit of sun salutes. So that's big movements, right? But even when you're still in a particular pose, the breath still has a job. And we'll talk about that as we go through those particular poses. So we want to sit well, and we're going to focus on our breath for just a little moment before we begin. Lifting the pelvic floor, the lower belly's in and up. We're tall through the sides. Relax your shoulders, relax your hips. Extend the crown of your head to the ceiling, and just close your eyes for a moment. Check in with your body. And check in with your breath and just watch it. Try not to change it. We'll work a yoga breath in a second here. But just notice your natural pattern. And sometimes just sitting on your mat changes it. So to begin, we want to make sure we breathe out through the nose. And unless you're stuffy, that's really simple. We're going to work on a 3-part breath here. So go ahead and exhale and get rid of all of the air that you can. Exhale until you think there's nothing left in there. Feeling the upper belly pull toward the spine. And then when you inhale, direct that air deep into your lungs and let your upper belly poke out. Make it exaggerated if you have to. And then exhale and pull the upper belly in toward the spine again. Dump it all out. Do that again. Drop deep. And then exhale it away. Draw that air deep into the lungs again. But this time, continue to inhale and see if you can make your side ribs expand wide, like they could touch your inner arms. And maybe they already do. And then exhale, squeeze your rib cage back together and pull your belly in toward your spine, your upper belly. Inhaling again, deep and wide. And then exhale, squeezing the rib cage and then the belly. Once more like that. Exhaling completely. Adding on again. Inhale deep, wide, and then imagine the air filling up into your lungs until they're up to your shoulder blades or your shoulders. And then exhale from the top, through the middle, to the bottom. Inhaling deep, wide, and full to the top. Exhale, reversing that. And then one more of those. Keep that idea, but cut it back just a little bit. So breathing a little deeper than you normally might. Focusing on a little bit bigger breath. And keep that idea even as we start to add in some movement. Extending the arms out to the sides. We're going to inhale, reaching them up. And then exhale, take them back down again. Again, like that. Letting the arms reflect their breath. Do that one more time. Back to the top. Exhaling the right hand to the mat. Just give yourself a little tip to that right side. So with the inhale, lengthen out the crown of your head. Exhale, sink into that side stretch a little bit deeper. And then inhale your way back up to the middle. And exhale over to the left. Same idea, use your breath. Extend long. Exhale, tip in. Inhale back up to the middle. And then back over to the right. Same idea, using the breath. And part of it is a big movement. Part of it a little more subtle. Part of it moves us deeper into the pose. Back up to the top. And then over to the left again, same idea. Back to the center. And then exhale, release the arms. So let's take that right hand over to the left knee, left hand behind the back. The breath here, inhale, lengthen. Exhale, rotate around from the belly button. Inhale, lengthen again. Exhale around from your left side ribs toward the back of your mat. Inhale again, taller yet. Exhale so you can take that shoulder around a little bit more. One more breath, turning the face. And then holding that. And even here, see if you can feel the subtle movement. The inhales always feel longer. And maybe the exhales can move you around a little deeper into the twist. It's early yet, but that's kind of the idea. We're going to release that coming back to the center. And then switch sides. So the left hand to the right knee, right hand behind the back. Same idea here. Inhale, lengthen up. Exhale, imagine rotating around from your belly button. Inhale, a little taller yet. Exhale, rotating around from the ribs. Taller again. Exhaling the shoulder back. And then maybe turning the head. Taking a couple more breaths here just to feel that little subtle shift. Releasing that, come back to center. So over onto hands and knees. Being aware of your breath, even as you move. All right? Spreading the fingers nice and wide. Knees under hips here. And then with the breath here, inhaling the belly toward the floor. Exhaling to round the spine toward the ceiling. In and out like that. Take the entire breath to move through that spine. Let's go once more. And then back to a neutral spine. So taking the hands and hamstrings ahead here, moving into kneeling plank, or knees back, whatever. Still focusing on the four corners of the hands, the belly's pulled in to support the lower back. If you want to move from a plank anytime we're in kneeling plank, feel free, of course. Right? And we're going to take as long as we possibly can to drop all the way down to the belly. So with the elbows stay nice and tight, gently start bending them. And maybe take 5 breaths, I'm lying, of course, to get all the way down to the floor. Maybe you're happy it took you an exhale. So, whatever. Right? Again, hands are next to the side ribs, the elbows are pulled in toward the body here. Toenails stay on the floor, tailbone tucks toward the floor. Keep that lower back nice and long. And then with the breath here, on the inhale, pull the shoulders up by the ears, together on the back, roll down toward your hip bones, and then exhale to release that back down. Inhaling as you roll up. Exhale, release. So let it be about your shoulders, your back, your chest. Try not to use your arms too much, or at all if you can. Let's go one more time like that. And then just release, holding on the floor here. We're going to take Cobra a little bit bigger. If you want to move all the way into an up dog, of course you are welcome to do that. But really stay connected to the breath and be aware of where the shoulders are. So it's not just pushing yourself up off the floor with your arms, right? Just keeping the toenails on the floor, rolling the shoulders up together and down like we did. Pull with the hands to lengthen the spine, and then gently press to come up a little higher or a lot higher again. But notice what your breath is doing. Can you breathe into your upper belly? As you exhale, does the belly pull in toward the spine? Do you notice any subtle shifts as you breathe? You got one more breath. And then gently release it back down. Pressing down into the knees, we're going to lift back up into our kneeling plank, elbows stay in. Fast, slow, whatever you can do to get yourself up as a unit, right? So we don't just push the chest away. Everything lifts up off the floor together, and we press back up. Take it all the way back into a child's pose. Making yourself comfortable in child's pose, of course, right? But if your belly is touching your thighs, which if you have your knees wide, they don't, right? Or maybe not a lot anyway. Feel the belly press into the legs. And just like with our twist, as we inhale, imagine lengthening the spine. And then as you exhale, imagine sinking closer to the floor. The upper body, of course. From our child's pose, go ahead and shift forward, come into kneeling plank again. And then lifting the knees, lifting the hips, making your way to the down dog. And wiggling and stretching like we always do in our down dog, first down dog. And down dog if you want. Super this morning. And then we're going to go ahead and sink into it, pressing the heels toward the floor, lifting the hips as high as they lift, head hanging comfortably between the arms. Let's go ahead and step the right foot forward for a lunge. Dropping the back knee. Hugging the legs toward each other. Go ahead and take the right leg straight-ish. And this is another one. This is our first hamstring stretch. So the idea is to lengthen, maybe lift up out of the fold a little bit. Exhale, see if you can sink back into it. Right? So it can be a really noticeable movement, or it can be more subtle. So go ahead and bend back into the knee, lift the back knee, and walk the hands around into a straddle. Let yourself hang out here for a little bit. And then continue walking the hands over to the left foot, lunging toward the back of the mat. Go ahead and drop the back knee. And take the left leg straight-ish. Again, using your breath to work into this first hamstring stretch, forward fold, whatever you want to call it. One more breath like that. Bends back into the knee, lifting away and walking the hands back into the straddle. So in this straddle here, instead of having your toes point, turn them out to the corners just a little bit, 45-ish degree angle. And then from here with the breath, go ahead and exhale, bend into the right knee. Inhale back to the center. Exhale, bend into the left. So you're gonna move side to side like that with the breath. As you exhale, go ahead and watch the knee. Open the feet, take the legs wider, whatever you have to do so you have a knee ankle alignment here. And especially after you've done that once or twice, you'll probably need to adjust. So just peek in, check it out. Let's go once more on each side. When you're back to center, go ahead and turn the left toes in, walking the hands around toward the right foot. And from our lunge, step forward into a fold. Bringing the feet up underneath the hips, toes pointing forward here. Bending the knees if you need. Take the index and middle fingers and wrap them around the big toes. Keep the base of the big toe grounded. Legs are straight if you can make them straight. Elbows bend out to the sides either way. And then if you like, a little gentle pull on the toes will draw you deeper into that fold if you need to be deeper into the fold. Is your belly touching your thighs? Feel the belly expand against the legs if they are. Releasing the toes, take the fingers to interlace behind the lower back. Pulling the shoulder blades together, stretch the knuckles away. So maybe here, with the inhale, stretch away. With the exhale, squeeze those shoulder blades a little closer together on the back. Or maybe you feel a subtle shift somewhere else. Maybe it's your hamstring stretch still. Maybe it's length in your spine. I'm going to take one more breath here. Releasing it. Bending in through the knees if you aren't already. With an inhale, go ahead and roll up through your spine, one vertebra at a time, stacking on top of the next. Last. Coming to stand tall. So taking a little standing back bend here. Check in that your feet are still where you want them to be. Tailbones tucked just a little bit so the lower back stays nice and long and happy. Hands can support on the lower back, interlace behind the back like we've already been, or taking it out into cactus or alongside the ears even. You decide, change it as you like, of course. Tucking the tailbone, pull the shoulder blades together and lift the chest toward the ceiling. Keeping the chin tucked in toward the throat helps to keep the head from just flopping back and squishing the neck. So here your breath lengthens and maybe opens a little deeper into the back bend. Listening to your body. Again, adding something on. Maybe you even add movement, extending the arms long and then drawing them back in the cactus. We're going to take one more breath. With an inhale, hinging back up. And release the arms from wherever you had them. Taking the hands to the thighs, make your way over into a half fold kind of place. Lean on the legs if you need to lean on the legs. Shoulders back so that spine is nice and neutral. Go ahead and bend into the knees. We're going to hold in our chair for a little bit here. So tucking the tailbone, lifting the chest. Knees are in line with the ankles and the hips. The hands, of course, can be wherever you like. Focusing on your breath sometimes takes the focus away from your shaking quads. For a second anyway. On the next inhale, let's go ahead and lift to the ceiling. Release the arms. So big movements with the breath here then. We're going to go ahead and move into our summit salutes. So take your time, connect to your breath, whatever that looks like. Okay. So if I'm cueing an inhale and you're not inhaling yet, we do it. From the top here, inhale the arms up to the ceiling. Exhale, take yourself over into a fold. Inhale, come halfway up, maybe hands to the shins or thighs even. Exhaling, step yourself back into plank or kneeling plank. All the way down to the belly, that same exhale if you can. Inhale, roll up in through the shoulders, moving into your cobra or your up dog. Exhale, make your way up and back to down dog. Inhale, 5 breaths here. And then with the next inhalation, we're going to step forward into the fold again. Inhale, come halfway up. Exhale over into the fold. Inhale all the way up. And exhale to release the arms. So that's the idea. Bump it up, bump it back down. Take an extra breath here or there. Listening to your body. Inhale, lifting the arms. Exhale over into the fold again. Halfway up. Exhale into your plank or kneeling, dropping all the way to the belly if you can. Inhale into cobra. Exhale back to down dog. And you can hold this down dog again, or you can drop into child's pose, always. What can your breath do for you here? Besides keeping the focus. And sometimes that's enough.
With the next inhale, stepping forward again. Halfway up.
Exhale back over.
All the way up.
And exhale, release. Bit more complicated with this next one if you choose, right? You can stick with that simpler version as long as you're connected to the breath. Inhale, let's sit into a chair. And then exhale over into the fold. Come halfway up. Exhale back to plank or kneeling. Take it down. Roll into cobra. Exhale back to down dog. With the inhale, step the right foot forward for a lunge. Take an extra breath if you need it, of course. Drop that knee or the back heel and lift the upper body. Inhale. Let's hold here for a breath. With the next exhale, go ahead and take it back over into your lunge. And then to down dog. Switching feet, inhale the left foot forward. Back knee or heel to the mat, lifting the upper body. On the same inhale, if you can make that happen, but lots of times it doesn't work out. So take an extra breath here. With the next exhale, back over into your lunge again. Into down dog. Shift forward for plank. Knees if you like, to the belly. Inhale for cobra. Exhale back to your down dog. And then again, we're holding in down dog or into child's pose. Let your breath over here. If you're down in child's pose, lift back into down dog. And with the next inhale, step the feet forward into the fold. Halfway up. Exhale over. Inhale to chair. And exhale to release it all. All right. So let's go ahead and take a nice big step back with the left foot. And we're going to work into a triangle here. So right toes pointed forward, left toes cut in a little bit here. Hips is open to the side of your mat, the long side of your mat, as you can. Extending the arms. We're going to exhale, shift over to the right, like you're reaching over those toes, and then take that right hand to the shin, the thigh, a chair, a block, whatever it is you need, and the left hand to the ceiling. Lean on the leg if you need to lean on the leg, but only if you need to. And then use your breath here. And this is one of my favorite things to do. So the first inhale, think about your feet. Is your weight even? Right and left, inside, outside? Yeah. And then think about your hips with that next breath. And imagine stacking your left hip on top of your right. It may not be reality, just that's the direction. Yeah. The next breath, lengthen the crown of your head toward the top of your mat. The next breath, open your shoulders. Can the left shoulder stack on top of the right? And then take one more breath just because it feels good. With the next inhale, lift yourself up. Find a middle. And we're doing that same thing to the second side here. So turn your right toes in a little bit, turn the left toes toward the back of your mat. Again, keeping your body as open to this side as you can. Extend the arms, hinge forward, and tip over. Finding wherever you do on your leg. And then the same idea. Use your breath. The first one, we think about our feet. Make sure they're even. And then the hips. Lengthening the spine. Stacking the shoulders. And then one more. On an inhale, coming back up again. Releasing the arms. Let's go ahead and take a warrior two. So left toes pulled in, right toes toward the top of the mat, bending into the knee this time. Knee stacks over ankle, hips are level, extending the arms, looking over the right hand. So take that same approach. 5 breaths. We think about our feet. Checking in with the hips. Extending the crown of the head toward the ceiling, tailbone tucked toward the floor just a little bit. The shoulders are level, right over the hips. And then you got one more breath just because. Come on back to center. Release the arms, switch your feet. So the right toes in a bit, left toes toward the back, bending into the knee. Check in. Might have to change your feet. Extending the arms. And then again, using those 5 breaths. And when you're through, make your way back to center. We're going to release the hands. Step back to the top of the mat. You can get there sometimes. Checking time-wise. All right, good. So, take that. All right. Taking standing balance. And we're going to keep it, the balance piece, simple. And then use the breath to add in some movement with it. So if you need to be near a wall, feel free to do that. Off your mat, near a chair or something you can grab. Right? Take all the weight over into the right foot, lift left, open at the knee, and then bring that foot in. Toes on the floor, calf, whether you're up into the inner hip or not, inner thigh. Hug in, tailbone down. Hands are going to come to center. They can stay there or reach up toward the ceiling. So adding in movement here, and you can do like we did, I think it was last week when we added in the twisting idea entry, right? Or just opening the arms and a little bit of flow, flowing side to side, like your branches in a breeze. But connect it to your breath. Changing your gaze maybe to watch the hands. Again, making it more or less intense, complicated. Go ahead and take one more breath. Come on back to center. And then release that side. Okay. So same idea on the second side. You can change it up a little bit this time. Yeah. All the way to the left, lifting the right, opening at the knee, and then bringing that foot in. Standing really tall again here, and then making it as complicated or not as you can. One more breath like that. Bringing it back in and releasing it. All right. Back to the top of your mat if you step away. Let's go ahead and inhale, lift. Exhale, take yourself into a fold. We're going to step ourselves back into our down dog. And then go ahead and jump on down into a child's pose. So just like that child's pose at the very beginning, notice what's going on with your body, where you are in comparison, with your breath, what it's doing here. And maybe it doesn't have to be the heavy lifting now because your body's a little warmer, right? Who knows? So here you have the option of moving into a plank or kneeling plank, or just sliding forward, and we're going to make our way down to the belly. Mm-hmm. So adding on to our cobra idea, we're going to turn that into locust. So for right now, toenails are touching the floor. This time, arms are down by the sides or interlaced behind the lower back if that's where you want to be. Everything else is pretty much the same though, right? So the toenails stay down on the floor, the tailbone tucks toward the floor. We inhale, roll our shoulders up together, down toward the hip bones. This time we're holding. But if you're breathing into your belly, depending on where your back bend is, of course, right? You may feel the upper body lift a little bit when you inhale. Let yourself sink again as you exhale. Keep that upper belly soft so you can breathe. You can adjust the shoulders as you work here. Feel free to do that. And then let's release it. So taking the hands to just make a little pillow for your head. Put your chin or your forehead on the pillow. And we're going to work with just the lower body then. The idea is to still keep the tailbone tucked. Still breathing into the upper belly. Imagine extending the toes toward the wall behind you, and then using the hamstrings to lift the legs. See if with the exhale, with the inhale, you can extend those legs longer. And with the exhale, maybe you can squeeze the hamstrings a little tighter. The temptation is to bend at the knees. That's why that lengthening piece is so important. Release. Let's put it together. So arms down by the sides. Tailbone tucked. Inhale, rolling the shoulders, extending the legs. Exhale, lifting. Breathing. And then releasing. Make that little pillow for your head again. Turn your toes toward each other and just an easy little rock on your hips. And if locust is challenging enough, stay with locust. Otherwise, we're going to go ahead and add into that a little bit. So bending the knees, take your hands back and find your feet.
Ankles if you can flex your ankles to give yourself a little bit more grip. Maybe. Maybe. Tailbone tucks toward the floor. Shoulders pulled together on the back. If you kick your feet away from your glutes, you get a little extra lift there. You can lift your thighs up off the floor if you like as well. And then we breathe here. And depending on where you're at, if you're breathing into your belly, you'll feel that rise and fall. One more breath. And release. Making a little pillow for your head, turning your toes toward each other, and then just again rocking side to side. From there, roll over onto your back. And then just take a second here, obviously making your way back to the middle of your mat. Okay? But then aligning your spine. Maybe the feet are flat, maybe the legs are extended, whatever makes you happy. If they're not already, go ahead and take the feet flat to the floor. And we're gonna extend the right leg straight up toward the ceiling. If you have a strap and you like to use it across the ball mount of your toe, your ball mount of your feet, or whatever, or behind your leg, feel free. Otherwise, you're just reaching the hands and interlacing the fingers behind the right thigh. And then seeing if you can keep the spine as it was when you had both feet down. Maybe yes, maybe not so much. From there, exhale, pull that right leg in toward your chest a little bit. And then inhale, let it go a little bit. So just this gentle little in and out, and you're looking for the place where your spine starts to go and try and help, right? So sometimes this right hip kicks up a little bit so you can draw it closer. Sometimes it's just the tailbone that wants to lift toward the ceiling, your lower back presses against the floor. Yeah, maybe it's your shoulders lift away. Find that place right as that starts to happen. And that's your edge. Right? And then when you're there, see if you can work more subtly so you're moving less. But you're still kind of playing in that same space. Take just a couple more breaths over on this side. And then gently release the right leg. Take a second with both feet on the floor, making sure you're still pretty much aligned, which hopefully you are. If not, fix it. And then left leg up toward the ceiling. Same idea, whether you're using your strap or just grabbing behind the leg here. Exhaling, pull it closer. Inhaling, let it go. And this shouldn't be like big movement because then momentum kind of gets involved and we don't want that, right? But moving more and then maybe moving a little less. One more breath over on this side. And then we'll release. So go ahead and take the soles of the feet together and let the knees rest out to the sides. And let go. Bring the knees back together. We'll open the arms out into a T position. And then, of course, you can make any adjustments here for your twist that you'd like. Maybe take the hips left and let the knees fall right. So my suggestion for this, but of course it's always your choice, always your choice anyway. But my suggestion is to see how much you can sink into this twist on the exhalations. So imagine this left shoulder just really dropping back every time you exhale. Imagine the legs feeling heavier over to the right with those same exhalations. Like you're letting gravity just pull you in. Taking just a couple more breaths. And then making your way back to center. Switching sides. Again, modifying it if you need to modify. Otherwise, just exhaling and sinking the body into this twist. Couple more breaths over on this side. And making your way back to center again. Let's draw the knees into the chest, rock a little. Squeeze them in good and tight. Forehead toward the knees. Release it into a nice long stretch. And then make your way to Shavasana. Positioning your body against the mat. And then letting your muscles go so the body feels heavy and relaxed. We want to keep the focus on the breath without controlling it here. Its only job now is to keep your mind focused. So maybe you want to count. Or maybe you just watch the inhale and the exhale. being aware, present, calm. Relaxed. Slowly drawing a deep, cleansing breath, send it all the way through your body. And then let that go. Wiggling fingers and toes, stretching the arms and the legs, awakening the body. And when you're ready, taking the feet flat, moving yourself all the way up to seated. Sitting well, we'll bring the palms to touch. Bowing your head to your heart. Namaste. Yeah. So take those little breath breaks anytime you need to chill, or all the time. So I don't think anything. What's next weekend? I think we're good next weekend. The following weekend I won't be here, but next weekend we're good. So I will see you then. Be sure to send me suggestions, questions, poses that you want to practice, right? Any tips, comments, whatever. We'll see you next time, y'all. Thanks, guys.